Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Poetry and Perspective with Placide. I am your kind hostess, Cindy Placide. I do apologize for the delay as we had some technical difficulties, and of course, we cannot control these things. So I do apologize for that, okay? But before we start the show, I had a long drawn out things to say, but I'm not going to say it anyway because we are way behind. But I need to give recognition to just one or two little things. I would like to say, first of all, a big good evening to my loyal viewers and everybody who's tuning in for the first time. Thank you for joining us at Approach and Perspective with Placide. And for those who are watching in the background and this is your first time, I do welcome you. I promise you this is going to be a very informative show. You're going to learn a lot and we're going to be inspired by some of the things that we hear discussed here on this show. It is a conversation. I don't want to just be an interview. It's going to be a conversation, and I have two amazing gentlemen here with me today, who one you have met and the other probably you have seen before. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank them for being here. But before I introduce you to them, let me say I want to give a really I want to mention my dear friend Jack Duplessis from Caribbean Focus TV. He lost his daughter Daphne. She was taken prematurely from his family, and I just wanted to let him know that we are thinking about him on Poetry and Perspective with Placide, and we love him. And I know that he has a GoFundMe for her, so I'm going to be putting that on the chat later on so that everybody could, at least donate to help in her burial. Daphne was an amazing young lady, and I had a pleasure of meeting her. And then it's just sad that her life was taken too short. And I'd like to say to the family and friends of Teco, I forget his name, the real name, but I think he's Clement Prosper, Clarence or Clement Prosper. He's my dear friend. I can never remember his first name, but he died a few days ago, about a week ago, and I just want to say a big hug. I love you to his family. I met him at the hospital and it was just a really sad time for me. But, I met him for the first time and we became friends. I went to the hospital every day to see him. And he fought hard to get out of that stroke. But eventually, he lost his life. So I just want to say a big my condolences to both these families. I want to give a big shout out to all those who are watching this show, for all those who have supported this show, for Rupi Tea at Viscosity Blend and Roadblock Radio, Wayne Hall, and all those who have participated or supported this show in one way or the other, whether with your comments, whatever. We thank you. On this show, Poetry and Perspective with Placide, I allow my slogan to speak for itself, which is let your voice be heard. We want everybody's voice matters, so we want everybody to let this platform be a place where they can voice their concerns and to be free to just open up and just release whatever burden tension. We do not discuss politics and religion in depth, although you can say what God has done for you, but we do not discuss politics and religion in depth. I am a poet, author, advocate, and advocate for mental health, mental illness, suicide, and this is what we are here to talk about today: mental health amongst men. A lot of times we tell our men, including myself. I have a 28-year-old who's going to be 29, and we usually tell them, you need to suck it up, you need to be tough, okay? But we don't realize that as much as we put this pressure on them, they too need to be reassured that they are human and they go through things as much as the women do. A lot of time we look at the women, but what about our men? Okay, so that's what I'm here to talk about, because I'm raising two young men. So first, before we continue with the before we take on both my guests, I want to introduce both of them, and then we're going to hear from my first guest, which is Baptist. So let me first introduce to you Baptist Paul.
Hi.
And Mr. Warren Mitchell. Now, Mr. Warren, how are you doing today? I am so sorry. I need to apologize. I am so sorry.
You don't need to apologize. You're fine.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Mr. Mitchell, this is Mr. Baptist Paul, and he is an award-winning author, and he does really amazing things with children books and this in the school system. Yes,
Okay.
and he's also from my Caribbean island as well,
Which one is that?
Saint Lucia.
See.
So
Aye.
we
Papa
are
mwen sa. Disi you sav.
so they said listen to
Papa mwen.
Papa
Hey.
Uh-huh.
côté
Swazel.
Swazi la papa moi sorti tout.
Ah.
So,
Okay.
you guys are saying for me.
Papa moi sorti du Brel.
Ah, okay. My mother is from Dominica.
Dominica.
Okay. Yes.
I love Dominica. Oh my God.
Awesome. Okay. So we're gonna get let me put my volume up a little bit. I can hear nothing. So we are gonna get started with you, Baptist. Okay.
Yeah, for real.
So
Oh, yeah.
yes. So Baptist, and while we're speaking, if you realize that you're the only person on the screen, is because I put you on the solo layout so that the viewers can pay attention to you speaking. Okay.
That's fine.
Yes. So Baptist, we're going to start with you. Okay. So I know we've been speaking for a minute now. We went to school together, right? I think I was a little bit ahead of you, and we both came up here making a life for ourselves. But through it all, we all, whether through our childhood or through just the process of life, we go through so many things that affect us. So, Baptist, could you please share with us, since we're speaking about mental health amongst men,
Mhm.
what are some of the challenges that you faced?
As an island man, right? That is a loaded question for island man. Usually, we were taught growing up, number one, that you suck it up. You got to man up, chin up, and you take it like a man. Okay, that's number one. And biggest challenge for me right now, when it comes to my mental health, is opening myself up to allow others to come into that space, to be some kind of voice of reasoning or provide the assistance that I or the help that I need. Because growing up, you were told like, like man up, chin up, all that stuff. You can do it all by yourself. You don't need anyone to do it for you. And I understand how detrimental. Only now, looking back, I see how detrimental that is and how that has affected me throughout my life. And it has its negative consequences on the person that I have become. I hold things on the inside because I don't really open up to let the world in or let people in. I have a lot of trust issues and I have to protect my peace and my space and my mental health because my mental health is fragile. So I am working so hard right now to just maintain that balance, my peace and my space. Because at any moment in time, someone can come in and disrupt that space for me. And it's a vulnerable place to be in. You say things you don't want to say, you do things you don't want to do, and the end result being that someone gets hurt because of your actions or your words. And I do not want to be in that space at all. And I'm working so hard to get there. I do therapy, and I recently, it's been like a couple months since I missed therapy, but I started all over again doing therapy. And there's so much power in having someone where you can sit and relate and talk to, someone who's going to be unjudgmental, someone who's going to give you professional expertise on the subject matter at hand that you want to talk about. But at the same time, like, even though I am in that space with that individual, I still don't feel 100% comfortable dumping it all, because there's just too much going on. Just too much.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, before we continue, I want to Mr. Mitchell,
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to chip in, but before you chip in on that, I want you to hold that for. Let's remember what he said. But before I asking that question, let me let everybody know, because I want it to be a conversation, okay, so that they will know where we're coming from, okay. So let me tell you who Mr. Mitchell is before we continue with Baptist. Now I should have done that, but I went way off this. Mr. Mitchell is Mr. Warren Mitchell. He's a proud owner, CEO, founder of Journey of Self-Discovery. And Mr. Warren has over 35 years of experience working with youth families and adults who are emotionally and spiritually distressed. Mr. Warren is the CEO, of course, and the clinical director of his private practice, Journey of Self-Discovery, as I said, in Stonecrest, Georgia. He has received his MBA in psychology from Franciscan University and earned his Master of Social Work from the University of Pittsburgh. Okay, Mr. Warren approach is grounded in the ancestors' way, a framework that honors divine design and generational wisdom while empowering individuals to break free from limiting patterns. This approach recognizes that each person is born with greatness and that our brilliant wonder is the expression of the divine. He believes no negative experience can destroy a person's inherent worth and wonder. Okay, so I'm gonna just leave it at that for right here because I don't want to go through all of it. And then what I really like about your bio, he said, "You are the essence of greatness. Be you."
That's
I
right.
love that. You are the essence of greatness. Be you. So we're gonna go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, at any time, chip in. But I had a question for Baptist.
For real.
At what point, while you were speaking and I was paying attention to it, why, while you were speaking and I was paying attention to you, to what you were saying, I wanted to ask you, at what point did you realize that Baptist needed help?
I think I would say it was a few years ago, though.
Mhm.
Just a few years ago. I probably say around 3 years ago, to that extent. And I think it happened probably like after my dad passed. And I was processing a lot of emotions during that time, and other personal stuff at that moment I was processing at that time. And there were thoughts that came into my head. Thoughts of suicide came into my mind. Thoughts of, huh, no one will really miss me if I'm gone. All those thoughts came into my mind. Did I actually go out, do anything? No. But the lingering thought every once in a while keeps popping up in there. And it's especially bad on days when I probably miss my medication at least by an hour. If I miss it by an hour, and because of the way my brain works and the way I process information, I'm a thinker, I'm a writer, and that is a gift from the Creator. But at the same time, that gift, I feel to a certain extent, is like a little curse on the on the other spectrum of it, because I'm always thinking, always processing, always diving, thinking deep about everything. And shutting my brain down requires like sleeping medication because it just does not shut down on its own. It goes on 24 hours a day. And if I decide one day I'm going to try to stop taking my sleeping medication, I will not sleep. And the entire day or week is just ruined because all thoughts just keep running through my mind. The whole
Wow.
idea, sometimes you feel like sometimes when I'm working and I'm writing and I'm working on something, I get so deep that I get lost and trapped in my own mind and I cannot get out. That's how deep I get into my own brain. It's scary getting there to that point where you just cannot get out. And like I said, it was just a few years ago I thought like I really, really needed help. And it has brought me to the point of thinking about like, I don't know if you guys know this American political, I think it was a political news correspondent, and Norman Cousins. And he talked about what's the greatest loss in life. And I have sat with this quote so many times. What dies inside of you while you are still alive. It's not death. It's what dies inside of you when you are still alive. And for me, trust died. It will take an act from the creator for me to be able to trust humanity or people ever again.
Let me, oh my gosh, whew, I'm getting so emotional. Mr. Warren, what say ye?
Brother, first of all, I feel the pain. I feel a heartfelt pain of what you're going through and the compassion that is there for you and the struggles of basically what I believe you are attempting to do is undo a conditioning that you have identified that says this is who I am, a conditioning by culture and family, and maybe sometimes even religion that has said that has not encouraged you to talk, that has not encouraged you to express, but to keep and to pray, and maybe that's it. And that's not enough when it comes to our mental health. We need safe spaces to be able to acknowledge the truth of what is happening within us, and around us that's affecting what's happening within us. And it's unfortunate that you were not guided in being able to do so, to better take care of yourself. It's a responsibility each of us have to be aware of, to respect and be responsible for our autonomy. And if we must do so to be self-sufficient and to self-govern, it requires that we have a system in place that helps us deal with crap that comes in or crap that's already in, and how to process, how to transform it for our good. Because I believe if we walk with integrity in the authority of who we are as children of the divine, that our problems can be used for our good. That crap can be turned into crop to help us to grow and evolve into being who we are. So where you are right now is trying to undo so many years of what not to do. And you've developed an identity in that. And it's now, you're now realizing I can't continue to live like this because it will kill me. And to undo, literally, yes. Because in that mindset, it's so anti-human, right? To not feel, to not be able to articulate and to express what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and to not have safe spaces where that can happen. It's so the issues of trust. I hear what you're saying. It's critical. There's no way we can truly fulfill who we are as human beings if we're saying we're not trusting anybody. It is, in my perspective, not possible to live in your brilliance if you're just isolated in mind and in spirit and in act, in how you do things. It's not healthy. But we have to accept the reality. This is where you are.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time I'm probably going to say this, and the whole world will know this. It's the first time I'm going to say this. And I grew up in the Catholic Church and the Catholic faith. And when I moved to the US, it was still part of my life, right? That was still part of my life. Religion, faith. So I'm careful with the words I use. I don't say God anymore. I say creator. These are the word choices that our viewers need to understand when I speak. Do I believe in God? I believe in a creator. I will not say God. And the reason why I will not say God, and that is where my trust started eroding, as when it comes to religion. When I got here, man, I'm freaking shaking. Dang it.
I can see that.
Just do practice some deep breaths. Don't try and force yourself to speaking and saying what you have to say. Your responsibility is to be with yourself in this space at this time. So a deep breath or two can help to recenter you in this moment. So just speak, express at your pace.
So when I got here, still a teenager when I got to the US back, God, eons ago. I do believe in God. At that time, I believed in God. I believed in faith and religion and God and all of that stuff. But I encountered one priest who was completely opposite in the thinking of what the guidance that I needed. And it was a lot of manipulation, fear, and grooming. And wanted to have sex with me.
Wow.
And him doing everything he could to get me to disclose everything about me or about my sexual history, bisexual experiences, and everything. And I'm like, for a man of faith and for a man of God, I'm like, you are clothed in this, or you are given this place, this authority, or you are given this like anointment where you are supposed to be the guidance for people. And when no one is looking, you're trying to manipulate me into being, should I say, a sex slave to him, and all the language and all the communication and everything he did, and at that time, I was vulnerable, right? Young black man from the island in the US, and there were lots of intimidation tactics he used because of his position, not only as a priest, but he held a really powerful role in society as well. And that was how he introduced himself. And I'm like, I became fearful for me, for my life. And because of the other position he held, I feel like if that came to be, like, I could disappear at any point in time and no one would know about me. So my trust in humanity started eroding almost immediately because of that. And every day I think about this. Every day that weight drags me down. And every single day I am working to be better, right? That's all I'm trying to do. And when I was preparing for this interview tonight, one of the biggest things I try to do, and it's the biggest struggle that I have putting into my trust issues, is what I want to do. And what I'm struggling with the most is that, I personally, I want to make, and I'm going to make everything around me beautiful. That will be my life, right? That's what I want to do. And part of my career as an author is designed to do this, make everything around me beautiful. And as someone who's a giver, always a giver, 100% giver, I feel like those people who are takers and manipulators, and the impact that they've had on my life, negative impact on my life, it feels like that I can really get to the next level that I really want to get to, unless I learn how to let go. But letting go is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Letting go is hard.
All right.
And trust is really hard.
Yeah.
Because I was sexually assaulted at 10 years old.
Wow.
By an adult. And I have all of those things inside of me that as an adult right now, I'm in my 40s right now. I'm thinking like, whoa, all of the things should have been like buried, right? In the ground, covered, cemented, dead, gone. But right now, everything is rearing its ugly head. Every single thing. Because I never really had the chance to really deal or provided the opportunity or the resources and the right space to deal with it.
Yeah. Brother, my goodness. Heartfelt apology for what has been done to you by another human being. Truly sorry. Your pain is real, and your distrust is justified in humanity, and in that being that people call God and still do the things that they do. So it's understandable. I'm glad that you're able to find a way to connect with this higher power and using a term that you feel more connected to, which is good and healthy. This is your journey, and it is important that you own that as yours. You are fighting to take back control of choosing to be the authority in your life, to choosing to be the king of your Eden, of your being. You're fighting to choose to be. One of the things that the church and good people sell that makes us vulnerable and become victim is that term that to be a good person means you have to be selfless. And we compare it to selfishness because we know nobody really wants to be selfishness, but someone who has been living a selfless life for a long period of time, they eventually can get to being selfish because of how the betrayal and the hurt that you get from being selfless. So I've created another word because I don't believe selflessness is healthy either. It's a trap. I think there's a responsibility we need to be self-true, to being true to yourself, where when someone asks of you a favor, you don't automatically say yes, because even if you have it, you check in with yourself first and ask, is doing this in alignment with me operating in my brilliance? Is this doing this favor in alignment with me walking with integrity, protecting my boundaries? Or am I saying yes? And is my saying yes going to enable this person or these people to continue to depend on me and not learn for themselves? Is my saying yes just for validation and seeking because I am lacking it within myself? And so selflessness, a lot of times we are caught up in that because of some of those things. And we've been given that it is better to give than to receive. Not necessarily. The one primary responsibility each of us has is to protect our home, being at home with ourselves, or the garden of our souls. All right. I say we are the guardians of our souls and the gardeners of the garden of our souls. That's us. That's on us. Not the past, not who should have been. It's today. Yes, I've gone through all of this that has brought me here today. But the question that we must be challenged with, now what am I going to do about it? Because if I don't choose to be different, I will allow my past to dictate my present and future. And with what you are doing in your work, your ministry, however you might call it, it requires of you to operate from your brilliance, not your pain. Because if you go ahead.
I would agree with you on that point, because I think one of the things that I do a lot is trying to build community, build people, and share my gifts and talents with other places, people around the world, because I do get to go into so many places, and I try to see the good in humanity before the bad in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get hurt and when I'm in pain, I feel like it's the disappointment that the world has brought about or brought on me,
Mm-hmm.
that's taking me back into that same vicious cycle, even though I am trying to be good.
Right.
And I'm doing everything that I need to do. I still fall back into there are players in this world who are just designed to just take you back, right? No matter what good you are doing, they're designed to manipulate, change the words, and make you feel less of yourself, even though you are doing all of the good things you are doing in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, there are predators out there. There are people who are preying on other people's vulnerabilities, and I think that's one of the reasons we are challenged, and it behooves us to make sure that we are the watch towers. We are the gatekeepers of our souls, the gatekeepers of our hearts, gatekeepers of our minds, and your responsibility, something you just said, I want to correct that quickly, that you said you're trying to be good. I think it starts off with not you trying to be good, but that you are good. And then what you are learning is how to express that goodness in the different things you go through. Your goodness cannot be damaged or destroyed. It can be covered up. Right? We look at the sun, the most powerful element in our solar system, right? But yet there are days and moments, even like now, when it's dark and there's no sun out. But that does not mean the sun and its brilliance is gone. In the middle of the day, when it's not showing and it's dark, it doesn't mean the brilliance of the sun is dead. It just means it's covered up by the dark clouds. And for us, our brilliance can be covered up by the dark thoughts and unhealed emotions and trauma that we carry with us. And so when we look in the mirror, when we look at things in our lives to be a reflection of when we're searching for that brilliance, we can't see it because it's a reflection of the pain, not the brilliance.
And I think this is, part of my challenge as I navigate this landscape of trying to get better, seek help. I think this is one of the things that I do struggle with is opening up myself in a way where people can really get to know me or see me or understand me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to go down that road again, you know. I'm gonna build up that wall and that boundary and protect my kids and to the best I know how, or the people I do care about the most in the world. And the things I've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that I don't wish upon anyone in this life, or I don't wish, that they themselves would have experienced it. And I feel a little better knowing that I have communicated with my children on that subject matter to let them know where I'm at and what are some of the things that have happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have not said everything to them yet.
Right.
And because I have a young adult and a teenager, and I feel at some point I need to come completely clean and just dump it all out. But I do not want to burden them with my weight. So I keep it inside and I bury it. And this affects a lot of aspects of my life, like
Yeah.
when it comes to letting other people in. Truly 100% letting other people in.
Cindy.
Uh, and I can totally relate to that. And I will not speak of myself as a woman, but I can say that I can see that in my son. My son, everything that I went through, he saw what I went through. He saw the abuse. He has heard me being raped. He
Oh my
has been there when I was being beaten, going for domestic violence. He has been there when I was trying to take my life. And my son internalizes everything. As his mother, I have to really pull things out of him for him to be able to speak to me, to open up to me. And for the past, as he's grown into an adult, I have seen how it is really having an adverse effect on his mental health.
Yeah.
And I've had to ask him over and over again, baby, go seek some help. You are not going to be a less of a man if you go and seek some help and speak to somebody. You don't need to speak to me because you see me every day. Speak to somebody who a professional who'll be able to just sit and listen. Because as mom, we're gonna say, "Well, baby girl, let me hug you." They don't want to see that. At that time, they just need somebody to let them pour into them. And I understand about this. I understand that you don't want to. And from my own perspective as a woman, I know that it was hard for me to speak up.
You
I
know,
used to see bits and pieces here, but the whole story, I had not been able to open up about it.
Right.
To
and
me,
as a Caribbean man, Cindy, as a black man,
yeah,
Caribbean man, a man who grew up in a system that says like you have no voice, the adults always right, you only speak when you are spoken to, and all this bullshit. All these things have like such a negative, has such a negative impact on who you are. And as you are growing up, and as I was growing up and raising a family and doing all of that stuff, like all of those things were prevalent. They were there, looking under the surface like a vampire. They're under the surface. They're there. And what do you do? You know, with the fact that you don't have a voice, you don't have a say. You know, going through school, you get your butt whoop or your ass whoop. I guess we only have adults on our show tonight. And you can't go home. You can't go home and tell your parents, of the abuse you suffered. All of those things on a micro level builds up that kind of like mentality in you that you need to keep things hidden,
Yeah.
buried, so no one has to know the struggles you are going through.
Yeah.
It took me years, people, years and years and years to realize that I need therapy because I thought I could do it all
So,
myself. I
yeah.
don't need anyone, you know, I don't need to talk to anyone because, the structure, the fabric of how I grew up is so ingrained in everything I do, the way I process the world and the things I see, you know, navigating relationships, navigating all of those things. Like, it's tough because you got to protect you. Knowing everything you've been through, you got to protect you. And part of protecting you is not really showing vulnerability, because part of showing vulnerability equals weakness, and part of weakness equals like equates to, you know, people think less of you because you show that weakness. And as a black man who grew up in the Caribbean, who went through all of that bullshit, and this is the first time like your viewers know of some of the things that I have gone through, you know, it makes it hard to trust people, anyone. And it will, and I'm working through it with therapy. I'm constant I'm constantly trying to work through it. It's like Mount Kilimanjaro for me right now.
Right.
Let me
And
ask you, Mr. Warren, if you
mhm.
saw Baptiste outside this show, would you recognize him?
Would I recognize him
Yes.
by facial features? You mean, or
No,
no?
he is a happy-go-lucky person.
Oh, okay, okay.
He is
No,
you would never look at him and say that he's going through all of this, and that's what we do. We mask it so that we put up that wall. We put up that wall. I wrote a poem. I call it the survivor's wall. We put
mm,
up that wall because that's the way we know how to survive through it.
right.
It's the fake it till you make it mentality, right?
Fake it till you can't make it anymore.
Yes.
Fake it till you jump off a bridge, right? Mentality.
No, I mean, the pain is real. All what you all have experienced, and we all have our own levels of pain, and the pain can be very consuming. And our world, capitalism, takes advantage of that because it advertises for us quick fixes to numb, to not deal with, to avoid, and to not feel. But if we're going to truly heal, we got to be open that some pain is going to be necessary to face and undo and take back the power that it took from us. And the only way it took the power is by making us believe we don't have power when the power is now laying dormant inside of us.
But what do you do when you don't have all the necessary tools and resources to help guide you to that better place? Because I'm speaking from a black man perspective, and in the black culture, we are supposed to be Mr. Macho, Mr. Strong. You're supposed to be the head, the figure of that family, or that unit, whatever we want to call it, right? But who really takes care of us when we are so broken on the inside? We are so busy trying to take care of everyone else around us,
Right.
making sure everything is done right for them. But who really takes care of us when we are broken so we don't lash out? Because lashing out is easy.
Right.
Lashing out comes in a blink of an eye and a second.
Right.
It comes out. But who really takes care of us as black men when we live in a society such as this? We're all in the US, where everything wrong in this country is blamed on the black man.
We have a responsibility, again, to take ownership of no longer depending on another to be there for us, to save us, to understand us. We have to take ownership in trying to provide for ourselves what we are looking for others to provide for us. And in order to do so, we need to connect with people that we hope that we can trust, whether it be a professional, a mentor, an elder, someone that has shown some consistency around you, that of reliability, of trustworthiness. Or you might trust in Cindy, and Cindy might know someone that she has history with that says you can open up to them. I mean, there's going to be, as you talked about this vulnerability, there's going to be an opportunity, there's going to be a chasm that we have to face of, should I walk across this? Will this bridge hold me? There's a level of faith, trust that comes into play. I can't continue to hold on to the thing that I'm holding on to for my security and control and get out of the pit at the same time. I have to be willing to trust something on some level, even if it's just this first step, but I then also have to let this thing go.
But letting go is hard.
It is hard. And something when you said about letting go earlier, what came to mind to me was maybe it's not letting go is people's way of trying to say you need to heal, grow from this experience.
I think it's all bullshit.
Say that what you said?
I think it's all bullshit.
What makes you think that?
Because the whole part of growth, healing and growing, it's something that we all do on our own terms. And there's not a time frame or a time limit on that. And sometimes society wants us to rush through and heal and grow fast and move on, you know, and process things and just speed up and just like, all right, you good, move on. Here you go. This shit happens. Deal with it. You're good to go. Next step, you know. But when you are someone like me who has this like always giving and carry nature side of it, right? Like you said, happy-go-lucky kind of guy, right? You'd never know that I struggle. You would have never known that, Cindy. Like, we talk a lot, so you know. And most people in my world don't know. You know, there are like 4 people in my life that knows everything. And I keep that circle small and close for a specific reason. Because I do not want anyone to use my trauma as a weapon against me.
I'm sure.
Absolutely. So my circle is very small that I communicate with. And these are the 4 people who've never used my trauma as a weapon against me. It has been done before. And it took me way back. Way back.
I'm getting triggered.
Depression.
What's that?
It took me back into the pits of depression. That some can use your trauma as a weapon against you.
I mean, you look at the sign in the back of what you like, hurt people.
I've been looking at it all night. Hurt people. Hurt
Podcast.
So I have changed that quote a little bit.
I'll put it up here so the viewers can see what it says.
and how I've changed it, because I say many of us have been hurt, but not all of us who've been hurt people. But I say hurting people is who hurt people. That means you're walking around wounded, right? And that woundedness can spill over into other people's lives and situations. I've been there where I have done it, right? And so when you talk about even with your kids, your desire to want to just either one, have safe space to open up, but 2, to protect them and prepare them, you have to use wisdom. And just because you have this desire to want to do it, you want to make sure that your action is not coming from, again, your woundedness. It has to come from your brilliance. Because what you could do is have your stuff spill into them and unintentionally wound them, right? Because your intention is, I want to protect them, but they're not ready yet for that kind of information. And how you might express it could cause more pain, and they focus their attention on trying to help you rather than living their lives.
Yeah, but my trigger mechanism is like, I shut down. When the world becomes too heavy, I go behind my computer, I start writing, and I shut down and I don't communicate with anyone. And Cindy can attest to that. That she's reached out to me many times. Where are you? Are you okay? Are you alive? This is my method of saying, you know what? It's too heavy.
Okay.
I need to hide behind what is familiar, what is comfortable, and what I feel safe in that space doing. And
Right.
it is in my work, my writing, and creating books.
You mentioned that as a gift that God has given you, or the Creator has given you, and so you feel good about it. What came to mind when you were saying that was, like, say the Creator made you a sailor, and gifted you to be a sailor, and you're in a car right now. You can't use sailing techniques and skills and understanding to drive the car.
No.
Right? So there are times when you need to shut off your sailing gifts and open up to learning how to drive. And that might take a process, because all you've done was being a sailor. And when you start to drive now, you're trying to use, and you realize, and you're getting frustrated because you're trying to apply laws and standards of the sea on a ship into a car and on the road. It doesn't align. So I'm saying that to say, when you get into that state, continually thinking or writing may not be the best gift for you at that time, or best thing for you to do at that time. And so what I would encourage you is with your therapist is find ways to learn how to meditate, doing deep breath work to calm down. That has to become an eventual practice. And that's not going to be easy at first, because your system is used to, one, being in control. When they don't see you, when I say your system, your ego, your psyche, your woundedness, when they don't see you operating in your seat of authority, they take that as you want us to be in control, and we'll do what we can for you. Our role is to help you feel better, and sometimes by any means necessary. Not be better, feel better, and feel better.
We're talking about in the last 3 years, and I've done a lot of meditation, and this is something I have brought into my life a lot.
Mm-hmm.
On my travels throughout the world, throughout this country, I will find time and space somewhere deep in the mountains, solo, wherever, and do some meditation all by myself. And it has been helpful a lot.
Yes.
To me, I think it has been probably actually better than therapy, me being in the space with nature. And healing through nature has been the thing for me that has helped a lot. Me being in my own conscious thoughts, processing the nuances of every single day, and trying to grow and heal at the same time.
Yeah.
And I try to do it in different places, different environments, different settings. Sometimes, like, I'm at an airport.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know how crazy going through Atlanta or one of those airports can be.
Right.
But in the midst of all the craziness, like, sometimes I feel unbalanced, right? Like my center is not there.
Right.
And when I realize it, I will find a space at that airport to go meditate. People might be looking at me like weird, psycho, crazy dude, but for me, this is where I found my peace.
Right. And that's good. And I'm glad you brought up nature. Nature is within itself a healing space, and spending time in it, with it, there's so much insight to life and living that can be taught and learned. And so I'm glad that you found that. One of the listeners, Lisette, mentioned about learning about somatic techniques that can be used to help calm the nervous system. And that's what needs to be focused before we can move on, is getting ourselves out of survival mode. A lot of times we're stuck in survival mode trying to solve the problem of surviving. And we need to ground ourselves to have more access to our brain that can help us. Because when in survival mode, we look at there's three main parts to our brain. There's the what's called primitive, sometimes the part of our brain that controls the involuntary movements. There is the emotional part, and then there is the thinking part. And during stress, guess which one of those parts of the brain the system tries to shut down? The thinking part. It absorbs too much energy and it takes too long to process. And when you send a signal to your survival, your primitive and emotional part, it says, this thing is threatening my life, and I need to either fight it and eliminate it or escape from it as soon as possible. And so it's going to use second nature coping mechanisms to help you do so. But your thinking part is what you need to truly help you to better assess what's going on. So before you can try and access your thinking part, because if you try and access it while your brain is trying to shut it down, you're adding more stress to yourself. So the best thing to do is let go of trying to fix, solve, understand, and just learn to be with where you are, calming yourself down with the deep breathing processes. And ground yourself. Because when you send that deep breath, your deep breath sends a signal back to your psyche that says, this is no longer a threatening situation. And then your psyche starts to calm down. And then opens up your thinking part of your brain for you to now try and understand what's going on and how best to handle this. But if you try and force yourself while you're under stress to figure this thing out and solve it, you're going to cause yourself more stress. It seems logical, but it's not healthy.
It seems.
And I think too,
go ahead, Cindy.
I think too, because I think when you said that the part of your brain, your brain never shuts down, and I think it could be relating to what Mr. Warren is saying, that you're trying to fix things.
Because that's who I am.
Let's shift that. Pause you for a little bit. Let's shift that. That's how I've learned to be. Mm-hmm. Right? Once you send that signal to your brain and you said, that's who I am, your mind is going to protect you from anything that tells you you're otherwise.
So I should just say F it, right?
No. Who said that? Where you got that from? Where you get that from? I ain't said nothing close to that.
I know you've not said that, but I'm processing everything right now.
Breathe. Let's just pause for let's just take like a few seconds. Seriously, let's just take a deep breath right now. Right? Recognizing this is as the authority of your being in governing. You recognize your system is running and you don't want it to run. So you take back control. And the deep breath says, as much as you want to run and figure it out, I am choosing to stop. Hold it for like 4 seconds and release slowly. Hold it another 3 and then breathe in again another 5 seconds. Breathe in, breathe in. Hold 3, 2, 1, and you can just let it out. By that simple act, your brain that wanted to just keep on going, your heartbeat racing, just want to keep on, you saying, no, time out. I run this. And I'm going to choose to breathe rather than choose to perform.
But this is a technique or a strategy that you have to be mindful of.
Right.
On a continuous basis throughout your day. And if you are not mindful about it, you can fall back into the pit.
It takes discipline, though. It takes discipline.
Right. It takes practice. Mm-hmm. The practice will develop into the discipline. right?
Yes.
And part of the practice means you're going to fall back. Falling back does not equate to failing.
Nope.
If we take falling back as equals to failing, that means we have a perspective of what a standard of healing looks like, and falling back is not a part of that. That means that perception of what healing looks like is unhealthy. There's no way you're going to come from something you're not used to doing and expect to start something new and to do it consistently from then on. Your old ways are going to want to return you. We are creatures of habit. We like familiarity. We like comfort. We are going to go back to the comfort of familiarity of the thing that is killing us when we start something new. Because now our psyche is like, why are you trying to do something new? You don't know anything about this. You could get hurt. This person could do this. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that shit. I'm going to close off. I'm just go back to work.
I agree.
Right?
Let's take a minute, okay? Oh gosh, I'm not going to even lie. The minute he mentioned that he was Baptist, the minute you mentioned that you were approached by a priest, you know, about those sexual acts, my heart has not been stable. It triggered me. Why? Because I can relate. And it may not have been a priest for me, but it was another adult. I can relate. To think that the people that we trust the most, we have some level of trust in, okay, can just break everything apart for us in a split second and turn how we think of certain aspects of our lives.
Those voices, right? Those voices and those demons, they're alive.
Yes.
Even though it's been years, they're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
I could still hear those voices in my head. You're my favorite boy. You're my favorite boy. Don't tell anyone. No one is gonna believe you.
And they are recordings, right? They're not the truth. They are recordings, memories of what was said when what happened to you. So there's an association with them that brings them back. But they are not truth. Because just what you just said right now, nobody is a lie, because we believe you.
Oh, let me just take a minute and address my viewers, because this is so raw for me. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are speaking with the amazing Mr. Warren Mitchell, 35 years experience in helping people, adults, youths, to deal with spiritual and emotional distress. And you have brought so much to this platform tonight, Mr. Mitchell. And we're also speaking to Baptist Paul, who everybody knows as a happy-go-lucky, laughing, and listen, that man have a smile to kill, okay?
Yeah.
But behind the smile, there is always something hidden. And Baptist and I had to really make sure that he was okay tonight to speak his truth.
It's taken a lot of courage.
A lot
of courage. So
and I'm glad that you were here, Mr. Mitchell, because I was really concerned for him that we would just be speaking on this platform and he would not have somebody to, just help him through it. Yeah, because I've come here and I have broken down just talking about everything that I've been through: the rape, the incest, the molestations, the beatings, the emotional and physical, just the suicide, the depression, the loss, the grief. I have come here so many times and broken down.
Yeah.
But you and Baptist have inspired me tonight because you have not said much about your journey as to why you started the self-discovery. But I can tell from you speaking and your experience, something in your experience must have taken you to take on that role.
It was definitely. The first round of depression for me was in when I attended college the first time in the 80s, mid to late 80s, and I had to drop out of school, first of three, and my parents looked to me to be the one to start this thing of first in college, and I'm letting them down. And I was like a people pleaser then as well, insecure, and I went into through a bout of depression and wanting to just die. But I felt I was getting inspired. I wanted to be there for young people because I didn't know anything about therapy back then, and wanted to be there for people to talk to have a safe space to share. And I started having these visions. I started reading the Bible a lot, and I got home and got involved in youth ministry in St. Croix at St. Anne's, and that just transformed my experience with just engaging with the people there. And there is when I realized that part of the reason why the young people have issues is because the adults have unresolved issues. Their parents are struggling and not saying anything, and realize that I need to get through to the adults as well if I'm going to reach the young people. And I've gone through it, a couple other times in my life based on relationship situation, life, career situation. But I realized, even going through some recent stuff, that I have not gone back to that place of suicidality, that I was depressed, anxious. But thank goodness for the people around me. That one of the persons, a really good friend of mine, that she tethered me from drifting into the ocean, tethered me into a space where I could be where I was in what I was dealing with, but I didn't have to drift away. And the crucial, and then I'd have other people who just randomly check in to see how I was doing. Sometimes because of the work that I do, people think that I don't go through stuff.
We all do, don't we?
Right.
I like your journey of self-discovery, because a couple years ago I started doing this and I started calling it my journey of self-discovery. Of meeting new people in new places, traveling, doing different things, and just learning about myself.
Yeah.
Learning about humanity, learning about how we all are so much more similar than we are different.
That's right.
And I call this my journey of self-discovery, just like you have. And this is something that I want to continue doing, just meeting people. And
as long as you make a commitment to yourself that you will not allow being there for others to take over your responsibility to being there for yourself.
How can you do that when you're a parent?
The best parenting gift you can give to your kids is them seeing the example of you taking care of yourself. If you sacrifice for them, they will take that on, that's what they need to do as well for others.
True.
That chapter is still has to be written on that
Being
subject.
written.
That chapter still has to be written.
But it's the reality, it's the fact. Right? The best gift you can give to them is a healthier version of you.
I should have brought my cigar on the show with me tonight, because
Mr. Mitchell, I have a comment from one of the viewers. They said, Mr. Mitchell, your speaking is so understanding and uplifting. That's from Marcia Jean-Pierre.
Okay, thank you, Marcia.
Hi,
Yes.
Marcia. Tell her I say hi too.
Baptist said hi, Marcia.
I don't know
Let
who
me,
Marcia is.
let me read something I wrote about a
Mhm.
month ago. Um,
You're also a poet, right?
yes, so that's why I'm going to read that to you now. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's entitled Come Walk With Me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've cried out to you tirelessly to remove this tumor from within me. I see how much it has kept me from pursuing what I desired. It has drained my confidence and influenced how I show up. Yet, here it is still. I use scripture passage after passage, especially your grace being sufficient and all. But the self doubt from my insecurities remain. While weakened by my growth in self awareness, understanding, and maturity, it's still here. Why, after so much prayer, it remains steadfast with a persistent resistance against my prayers, your presence in my life, my passionate desire, and faith for it to be removed. Your sufficient grace has made this tumor an organ of my soul, with its purpose to anchor me from living in my brilliance. The grace of your outstretched arms sometimes felt like a mockery, trying to encourage me to climb a mountain I obviously cannot. With slowly building animosity toward you, while attempting to trust in your word, your grace, your spirit convicted me, and I reluctantly exhaled. Your spirit and that same grace helped me to not deny the presence of my doubts, and also guided me to not be consumed by it. While still doubting, you helped me to show up and press on when others would experience me and would shudder at the fact that I struggled with self-doubt. Your presence, a rock from which I could lean on as I stumbled from their disbelief, their disappointment, and their distancing. You never stopped seeing me as both as I am and where I am. You loved me through it. With the consistency of your presence as a calming peace, a fortified fortress, and an outstretched hand, you encouraged me, you guided me, you opened my eyes and revealed to me as you relayed my journey before me. That in the presence of this tumor of doubt in myself and in you, not only was your grace and love sufficient, but that I was always as well. You showed me that I can have doubts and still be faithful. I can be blinded from the uncertainty of tomorrow and still walk by faith. Like a baby learning to walk, I can fall and use the wisdom of falling to learn how to walk. I could mess up by going against what I know and still serve you. I could have issues with you and you still stand firm with me and for me in your love. Oh, precious one, let me no longer doubt in the sufficiency of your grace. Yet I know, even if I do, there you are with your outstretched arms saying, come walk with me. So
Beautiful.
Are you a religious man? This was beautiful.
Is that you really just?
No, I need to know for real. Are you a religious man?
I am. It depends on what you mean by religious. I am a
No, I mean a man of faith.
Yes. Without
Believe
a doubt.
in a higher power, creator,
Yes.
all of that good stuff.
Yes. Yes.
That was beautiful. It felt like an ode to a higher being
Right.
who's gonna guide you and be there for you.
But also wanted to reveal that creator allows us the space to be human. And is not, and this is not what we were taught growing up. And is not here judging and criticizing. But it's like, come how you are, where you are. Even if you have issues with me, come.
I got issues with the creator, man.
Yeah, you should. You should. With what you've been through.
I got lots of issues with the dude.
Yeah.
Him, her, whatever it is. I got
whatever it is. And I can guarantee you, as you work through that, there's going to be so much more writing for you of inspiration that you're going to share with others. Because there's no other safe space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Mr. Mitchell, I know we've been talking to Baptist. We've been allowing him to just you and that cup, allowing him to.
Yeah. My son made this cup. Okay? It's gonna be actually my best friend said this is gonna be a conversation piece someday.
Real for real.
My son made this, and it's
So we've been talking to Baptist about you all know how to break the ice a little bit. So we've been talking to Baptist about his struggles, and he led into some deep issues, and I know this is not the half of what he's been through.
Right.
Okay, because we can never really fully explain or even get to the point where we can talk about everything.
Right.
Okay, so I know you heard him, and I'm not asking you to diagnose him or anything, but I'm asking you, in your practice, statistically, how widespread is it to find men, because you're talking about men's mental health,
Mhm.
men who just bottle things up and cannot express themselves, like Baptist said, because of their experience, have those deep rooted trust issues?
I would say a significant amount, percentage wise, 85%, if not more. That's the mentality.
Yes,
Huh?
you took it from my mouth. Yeah.
that is staggering.
That's the norm. We have bought into an identity that says that the tough people don't cry, don't show vulnerability. They don't let other people see them sweat. They know how to take a licking and keep on ticking. Right? And even the term of resilience has a negative aspect to it, because it gives the impression that resilience means you never give up. You never say, I'm tired. You just have to find a way to keep going. No, true resilience uses wisdom. And a true warrior will know, if he or she is honest, will say, I can't do it today.
But this is not what our society demands of us as Black men. This is not what they want of us.
We don't live by what they want of us. We
They
live by a new paradigm shift that says we own our brilliance.
As a
Nobody.
Black man, yes, we should own our brilliance. We should do all of that stuff.
Right.
But as Black men in relationships growing up, we are supposed to be the provider. We are supposed to be the breadwinner, the carer, the giver. And we are supposed to carry that entire weight of a family on our shoulder. That in itself is a lot of stress.
It is, and it should be, because that's not how it's supposed to be. If you're supposed to do it if you live by yourself, yes. But if you live in a partnership, you share that.
Share that load.
You share that responsibility. It's okay if the woman makes more, if that's her job and that's what it does, but it is not an excuse that because she's making more, I don't need to work. No, we still have a responsibility to be our best selves. Right? But I believe any couple coming together, they create a contract for how we want to run this household and this relationship. We can pull some things from tradition, and we can pull some things that is new, that we have not experienced, that we want to try. And every year, every 6 months, we review it and see how it works for us. As long as both of us are in agreement, that's what matters. So society can spit out all it wants. We have known that it has failed us in many ways.
Oh, it has.
Right?
And it will continuously fail us.
Yes.
And the whole paradigm shift happens to a certain extent, especially coming from a Black male perspective. That's I ain't white. I ain't talking about white boys. I'm talking about Black men.
Okay.
And how we are supposed to be the breadwinner, the provider. But when the shift happens and the woman becomes the majority breadwinner,
Okay.
it changes the whole dynamic of everything.
Okay.
Like your role as a black man is seen as less.
It
And
shouldn't be that way.
it shouldn't, but it is seen
No,
as less.
there's truth in that. Yes.
It is seen as less, okay? And that affects you on a deeper level because the depth of the conversation, the trust, and everything that happens in between and the conversations start seeing you as not really worthy of pulling your weight.
If you are with someone, in my perspective, who, and let's say you are doing your best, that's the key thing here. You're doing your best to be your best in providing for your family in multiple ways. So the provision for family, to me as men in our divine masculine, if you would, is not just financial or shelter. Provision means also providing what my family needs to help them be their best selves, which could be emotional support, spiritual guidance, whatever it might be, they might need. I am going to find a way. And it doesn't mean I have to be the one to provide it, right? If I don't want to do the lawn, I am going to earn the resources that I can hire somebody to come do the lawn, right? That's provision.
Yeah.
Right. So how can I be there? Provision could also mean I struggle with being emotionally supportive to my partner. Let me get some help to better understand why I struggle with this so that I can be more present and available to her and to my kids. Provision doesn't mean I have to innately know how to do everything and provide everything. Our society have set up certain conditions or what manhood is that is unhealthy.
Very.
Thank you for saying that.
Very.
Thank you. I need you to expand on this a little bit more because this is very important.
Before you expound on this, we have one question from the viewer. We haven't taken any questions today, but we have one question from one of our viewers. Oh, Master said, Mr. Mitchell, in the Caribbean, we taught our baby boy not to cry or express their feelings. Do you think this has a significant impact on men today?
Ask Baptiste.
Yes.
I mean, yes. definitely, without a doubt. And what we have to be recognized too, that men are emotional beings too. It's not just women. So wherever we were taught that men don't have emotions except happiness and anger is a lie. You know, one person asked when you talked about Dana, less than by whom? Society or women? And it could be both. But not every woman thinks that. But there are some women who do.
Yep.
Right? And so people who hold on to the old standard of what a man should be providing or bringing into the home, who he falls less than that, when he falls less than that, and automatically gets criticized, then you'll be in love for your performance, not who you are.
I like that.
I believe, honestly, I am a very spiritual person. I'm a Christian, and I do believe that if two people are in a relationship, if that one cannot provide at a certain point, whether it be financially or whatever, the woman is supposed to be a complement to her husband and balance it out.
Right.
Not just bring your husband down just because they cannot provide. And the same goes to the man. If your wife is not working, don't bring her down just because she can't. Exactly. It has to be a balance. It has to be.
Right. And the person, the other partner who's not working or contributing in one way, they can find other ways to contribute while still trying to build themselves up to provide and to balance the management of the household. Exactly. So, but yeah, we can hold on to ideas of what healthy or standards of what a relationship is, a family should be. We need every now and then, just like with our culture, every now and then there should be a debriefing to check in. Is this thing that's a part of our culture, a part of what I believe, still healthy?
Exactly.
Because if it doesn't work for me anymore, I should have a right to change.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like you have a child. You taught that child, if you are too short to go in the pool, so don't go in that pool, don't go a certain depth. But then when the child grows older, the child outgrows that depth. Are you still going to tell the child don't go in that pool?
Right. So
you have to adjust to our environment.
Right. So we have to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And as men, we have to recognize the responsibility we have to ourselves. We have to stop blaming others, and take ownership. How can we be there for ourselves? A lot of times, because we don't create safe spaces for ourselves, we find safe spaces in women, and that can add a whole nother layer of issues that we don't want to. But the man is looking for safe spaces, right? And if the woman, and it's not that he's going into the relationship wanting to have anything to do with it, but if you open and you become vulnerable to someone, your mind is making a connection and building a relationship with whatever helps you to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be something negative as well. It could be a drug.
Oh, it is. Cindy.
Yes.
I've been thinking
that
if my presence on this show tonight opens or paves the way for other young Black men, whether you're born wherever in the world, to open up and be empowered to take the next step in your healing journey, then my job and my purpose is done. And as part of that process, being vulnerable and open and know that you don't have it all, you can't control it all, and you have to let that go and say, you know what, I can't figure this out, I need help. And I think that this is the point where, like me, like giving back to the Black community again, is say, hey, your vulnerability is not a weakness. My vulnerability is definitely not a weakness. That means that you need to be mindful of your own self. You need to be honest with your own self and say, hey, you know what? This shit ain't working. I need help.
That's right.
I really need help, and I'm going to seek the professional help I need, because Black men bury this thing deep down inside.
Yep.
But in order for us to be better dads, better husbands, better parents, better friends, better community leaders, we need to rise up and say we need help. And this is somewhere that we are struggling to say we need help. And Mr. Warren, what advice do you have for you're going to share or you're going to give to other Black men out there, especially in the Caribbean diaspora, or, basically who says like, hey, I got this because of the way I grew up. Right? I grew up to be tough. I gotta be tough growing up. You know what I mean? And what advice do you have for them to say, hey, there are weaknesses, there are vulnerabilities that I need to let out. I need to come to a place where until I don't work through those things, I can never become the man or the dad or the husband that I am destined to be. What is that crucial point where they need to let go of all of that garbage, all of that years of trauma, just like me, to say, hey, I need help because I want to be better.
Yeah. I think there has to be a place that men get to recognizing what they have been doing isn't working and look at the evidence. Stop being in denial. So there's a need to be honest with self and say, I am hurting. If you are running or denying your true feelings, that's not a sign of someone who is truly strong. The strong one is the one that says, this is where I am. I don't like it, but this is where I am. And we find that women are stronger in that area of being honest and vulnerable to express that I can't do it. This is too much, right? We want to honor vulnerability as a strength, not a weakness. Vulnerability as a necessity for growth and development, as you pointed out, to become who I'm called to be. There's no way I can go through life and not expect to come to a place where I need to open up and relieve myself. It's like you're on a long trip, right? There's no way you're going to get to your destination if you don't find pit stops to get out and relieve yourself and stretch and surrender. I think Dana again mentioned something like that, that we can't do it all.
No, we can't. And Marcia, I got words for you, girl. Tell Marcia I got words for her. Baba, let the ego go and be honest, right? I got words for this girl. Next time I come, where's she at? St. Lucia or Atlanta? I'm gonna find her wherever she is. We're gonna sit, have a beer, and I'm gonna have words with this girl. Because I know she's right, though. It's the ego.
Mm-hmm.
We have an ego, and society has set an expectation of what a man should be like.
Exactly.
You know? And both things conflict with each other at the exact same time. It clashes.
Right.
Let go of your ego and your expectations. But in between, if you have a partner, that should be the voice of reason. Someone who's understanding. Someone who's going to be like, hey, I understand all the pressures you have coming in. I want to hear you. I want to sit with you. I want to process it all with you.
Right.
And here's how we're going to tackle this together. So, Marcia, I'm coming for you wherever you are.
I would add that, one, the partner might not process it all, but wants to be supportive in the process, because some work needs a professional to do, or somebody else that may not be as close. The other thing with regards to the ego, we tend to sometimes bash the ego. The ego can provide us with a sense of style and swag and challenge us to do some things. But where the ego becomes negative is when we let it take control to lead us. The ego.
So what you're saying, there are positive and negative aspects to the ego.
It's more of a neutral thing, but when we put it in a position that it shouldn't be in, then it wants to handle things in a way that's motivated by insecurities.
Okay.
The ego was never meant to lead. The ego is a servant of our spirit self, our brilliant selves. And it must stay in its lane.
Wow.
But if we don't know our own brilliance, we identify with the ego. Many of us don't even know it's our ego that's leading the way. We thinking it's us.
True.
So,
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, Queen.
I know we've spoken a lot about so many things. Baptist was brave enough to tell us. Yes. I am still reeling about a lot of things, but I want to just take a moment to ask you about your practice.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever comes after that, we can incorporate it in there. In your practice, what really is it that you do? Because I put as a clinical director, but I need to know exactly what you tell the viewers, exactly what they expect, what you do in your practice, and how you help others.
I do both clinical work and life coaching. I'm actually starting a group, like you read, a new coaching program, a 3-month program called Becoming Self-True, The Ancestors Way. And I use ancestors more broadly, that anything that is of the past that we can gain wisdom, or wisdom carriers, is part of ancestry. So the ultimate ancestry is the divine, from which we came from. I also use ancestry as the power of ancestry is not, we call on ancestors to help us and guide us. I believe we can activate some things that our ancestors have hoped for us to have, declared for us, that even though they knew that they weren't going to see, right, the other side of the mountain, they invested their energy and spirituality in that. And I think that words are powerful and can have life beyond what the person who's speaking. So they're spoken words that our ancestors have spoken to us in our time for today, that we have to be intentional about saying, I receive whatever word my ancestors may have passed on to me for this time and this moment, that God gave them a word to speak life into me, an unborn that they have not seen, that they knew somehow, somewhere in their lineage, this person is meant for greatness. And so, but we have to be present with recognizing that. So the work that I do is taking people through these 4 processes, these 4 phases of, we have it as an acronym of CORE, clarity, order, resonance, and expression. The first one is about your authentic power, knowing who you are. It's critical. The next phase is the order phase, personal governance. This takes the responsibility that I am in charge of my life, not my past. Because I am. And we start off teaching to developing a personal constitution that you use as a guide in how you choose to live your life, setting proper boundaries for yourself and how you're going to live and interact with life. Then the third phase is energy mastery or flow integration. How do I integrate with life? How do I use my energy in healthy ways that align with my brilliance? Not just because I've been conditioned, whether through colonialism, whether through unhealthy masculinity or whatever. How do I choose to live? Not by my wounds and woundedness, just because my family did it. How am I going to choose to be intentional to interact with this situation that is before me? How can I respect my peace, respect my honor, and deal with this in a way that's a reflection of my brilliance? And the expression phase is me saying, owning the responsibility, as Baptiste talked about with his kids. How am I going to take all the stuff that I'm learning about myself and donate it and contribute it to others around me? Whether it be at work, whether it be at home as a parent, whether it be as a friend, whether it be with taking care of the environment, nature itself. I have a responsibility to contribute to all that gives me life. And after we go through that experience, you learn again. So even in my clinical aspects, I do the same thing.
Where do I sign up for this? Because I want to be part of this. I'm 100% honest.
I'm going to
hit a note with me, and I want to be part of that.
Okay, so I will actually. It started with women. I'm going to start in probably 2 weeks, but I've created one for men. So I'm going to if we can get your email, I'll send it to you.
Cindy can provide you with all of that information.
All right.
I am definitely interested in that because I want to go deeper into me and understanding me, so I can be a better me.
That's right.
For the world.
Yeah, and if anyone who wants to contact Mr. Mitchell, I have his information on there. Going through my ticker, his email address, his phone number, his address where his practices, so you can always reach out to him. And
that address is incorrect. The physical address. I'm no longer in Decatur. I'm in.
Oh, you're no longer there. Okay, well the address is incorrect. So when you do call him with that number.
Hold on. So Marcia went quiet after I said I'm gonna find her.
Marcia's cool, man. She's cool.
Marcia Jean-Pierre just went quiet.
Mr. Let me tell you, both you men have give me as a person so much insight. Mr. Warren, I know that you have been through your own struggles. and for you to, like you say, evolve and to be in a position where you are able to give pay forward in helping other people, that's a really, really great gift. Not the word I wanted to say, but it did not come.
Ah, some-
And I know I was going to ask you, but then Baptist, he answered that question indirectly, because now I can see that with your practice, with the program that you're coming up with, it's really going to be beneficial for all who want to rediscover themselves, myself included. Good
Right.
night, Kakal. How are you? Myself included. Okay, and a lot of people need that self-discovery again, to be able to really dig deep into themselves and find the true meaning of who they were really destined to be. Because
That's
a
right.
lot of our experiences, a lot of our negative experiences, they take away from our value.
That's right.
If we let ourselves sink too deep and don't get out of that and don't discover ourselves, we are just going to be go deeper and deeper. So I'm glad that you have that program going in Oh, Baptist, he's in Georgia. Come on down.
I told you I'm gonna come down to Georgia and I want
Come
to.
on down. Yes, I'm
You
waiting.
tell me when, and I will be there.
I have your bed waiting for you. Okay.
Okay, when do you want me to come down to Georgia?
Okay, baby.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
When
he's
do
serious.
you want me
He's
to Georgia, and
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yes. And as for you, Baptist, we've been talking so long and we've shared so much. And then when you shared that piece
Which one?
about the man in the black suit.
Oh, the man in the robes, cloaked in the robes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
That's why they tell I strongly believe when he said there are sheep in wolves' clothing. Is that what it says?
Yes.
That's what it says.
Yes. There are wolves in sheep clothing. It's sheep in wolves' clothing. I was right.
Clothing. Mm-hmm. No, wolves in sheep's clothing. Yes, yes.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't remember. But you get my point. Yes. So I applaud you for being able to just feel free on this platform to give voice and allow yourself to express yourself as to what you went through. I know it was not easy.
I lost my faith, man.
I know.
I lost my faith completely.
Your faith is being renewed
Yes.
in a way that is healthier. It's starting from a place of truth and personal to you. And that's what matters.
Yeah.
I want to tell the viewers this. This platform here, before I say that, there was this gentleman. He's been on the show before. He was working in Wall Street. And I think his name is Dennis Charles. I'm going to mention his name. I'm sure he's not going to mind. And Dennis came to this show and then he talked about his mental health challenges from an experience that he had when the World Trade Center bombing happened, right? And after the show, he called me. And I felt like I had won $1 billion. He said to me, Cindy, when I came off your show, I felt like I had been carrying something and I was able to put it down.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes. I could never forget those words.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
That means to me that what I am doing here is purposeful.
Cindy, it's great, man. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I don't think I would have spoken to anybody else besides my therapist on a platform that thousands of people are going to see in this world about
Right.
my struggles with my mental health. You're the only person I felt comfortable to share, and you told me about Mr. Warren coming on and his expertise in the field, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I love my island people, and as part of my island people vibe, we got to do this for each other, because if I show my vulnerability,
Yeah.
if I show my struggles, there are others who are going through something similar like me, or even worse than me.
Mm.
And then if I have to be that little beacon on that hill, or that little glimpse of hope that's going to spark them on this journey of self discovery,
Mm-hmm.
or that journey of healing, then I want this to be the platform where it happened on. I would not have spoken to anybody about it. I would have kept everything inside and buried it.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's special. Yeah.
I'm
You
glad
took.
I can provide that space.
Yeah. That was special, man. Just for both of you. Baptiste, the courage to do this while you're still in the process of healing. It's not like you've come to the other side and you're talking about what you went through. You're talking about what you are going through, and I commend you for that. Continue with the therapy. Take your medication as needed. Don't trust feelings. Use wisdom as a guide, not feelings. The feelings will fluctuate depending on what's happening around you, within you. Don't trust feelings. Trust the wisdom. Do it because you know that's what's supposed to be done. And Cindy, just thank you for this platform, that and the relationship that you've kept with him, and being that safe space for him.
The one thing you said, like, trust that wisdom, right? That in itself is a loaded statement,
Mm-hmm.
because as part of trusting the wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking about like mentors, people you can relate to, people you can reach out to, who is going to be an avenue for you to help guide you through some of the most challenging things you are going through in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have it, those positive role models, or those people who are influential in your life, who's going to drop everything and run, or to be there for you, that makes it hard.
It does.
This is extremely hard, because no man is an island. We
Right.
can't do this alone. This game of life, we can't do this alone.
That's
We need
right.
people, and we need strong people. We need strong black men who are going through this. So, Cindy, I'm gonna open it up and say, like, you know what? Tonight, if there are other black men struggling and going through similar things like I'm going through, they can reach out to me. Just let me know, and I will be there to talk and listen. And sometimes all it takes is someone just to listen, and things are gonna be all right. Just listen. And I'm willing to do that, because I know my road has been tough, but I've had very few people.
And I will challenge you a bit. I would say talk to your therapist to see if you're ready for that. This is your selflessness that's kicking in right now, and I'm
Yeah.
not allow
Yes.
you. That's not healthy for you. You're not
Then
ready
I
yet.
was gonna say something else, but it's not gonna be appropriate for the viewers, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
So
And go ahead, Mr. Warren.
no, just saying, your heart, you have a compassionate and giving heart, but that heart must be at the servant of the wisdom of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Your heart, you've been leading with your heart, and it's part of what has gotten you in some of the mess that you've gotten into.
I just said that today about myself. I said it's my heart that has caused me to find myself in situations that I should have never found myself in. is a giving, is the, the good side of you. You a good person, and it is that part of you that people take
yeah,
advantage of.
you see the best in humanity.
Yes,
And you want
yes.
everyone to be the best. And you are always willing to put yourself out there, no matter what, so people could be the best, And that's what I see. I see humanity as the best, even though our country right now is a shit show. Okay, all right.
That what you just, I want you to use what you just did as evidence of how you can participate in self-sabotage in your healing, because you put other people first. You need you more right now than anything else. Don't make a move like that without consulting with people that you say you trust, that has your best interest at heart. Your heart needs guidance and needs to follow the responsibility of you being true to you first. That's this term of becoming self-true, the ancestors' way. Becoming self-true says, anytime I'm asked for something, I'm checking in first. I'm not listening to my heart. I'm not listening to my patterns. I'm not listening to what's familiar, what's comfortable. I'm not listening to being manipulated. I am going to listen.
You struck a nerve with the word.
I saw that.
Right?
If you cannot be there for yourself, you cannot be present for anybody else, Baptist.
No.
You and I talked about this already at depth. You and I talked about this whole thing, that you gotta take care of you first before you gotta take care of anybody else in this world.
That's right. That's right.
You and I talked about this, and we talked about the selfishness that equated to like why others wanted me to take care of them first before I take care of me.
That's right. There are people who have gotten comfortable with your dysfunction.
Yes.
Oh man.
Right?
Man. I think you got my brain really well on this vibe.
Okay. All right.
You got me on this one, because people have done that. Right. And they're exploiting it to a T.
And they will say something like, he's such a good guy. He's so nice. He's so giving. He's so that's to keep them asking.
Yes.
Because as long as they believe they're doing something good, they're not checked. They're not being held accountable. Their conscience is not pricked or convicted.
So you are healed now. You need to show up again. Oh, really? Who said I was healed?
Exactly. So
healing is a continual process,
There are lots of choice words I'm not going to put on your platform. I'm going to keep it PG-13.
Please, thank you. Listen, guys, I am going to ask you, the viewers, if there's anyone, okay? If there's anyone I'm calling out to the male, both male and female, but specifically the men. If there is anyone who wishes to come on here and lend their voice so that it could inspire somebody else to speak their truth about their mental health and mental struggles, feel free to come on the show and talk to me. I'll make it very relaxed for you, as you can see. Very relaxed. Because I don't feel, I'm not judgmental. I can relate to a lot of the struggles that everybody has been through. And sometimes when you see me smile when I leave here, like Baptist said, my mind keeps going like this. He doesn't sleep.
Sleep is a privilege.
What?
He doesn't sleep.
Sleeping is a privilege reserved for those who've made it.
Is that the same as sleep? I mean, as the same as eating?
It's one of those too. Privilege, those who made it.
So I want people to feel free to call me up and say, hey, Cindy, I want to tell my story on your show. In a matter of fact, we had I asked people to call me up to tell their story, because I had a guest who was on here and then he's a father. And then he said, he called me up. He said, Cindy, my story is not finished. I want to tell it on your show.
So his chapter is not written yet.
No, he said, I gotta tell the rest of my story on your show because if you're comfortable with me enough, okay. So I asked Mr. Warren, if you know anybody who wants to tell the story, send them to me. As long as you know they're ready.
Will do.
You feel that they're ready, okay? And I would love for you to come back here again for us to be able to speak some more.
You're
because
welcome.
I feel you have so much more to give.
No, we definitely got to link up though. I'm gonna come down
Yeah.
to Georgia, so we can link up. So is this program in person or virtual?
Virtual.
Virtual.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm game.
All right, I'll link you up. Yeah, I'll link you up because I have some men in DC area that are interested in it. So I'm going to probably do a workshop with them for the first one day, and then the rest of the program will be virtual, and then I'll go back for like a graduation or something.
Yeah.
I want to say this. Mental health is as serious, mental illness and mental health is as serious as having a broken leg, having diabetes is as bad. Now, with a broken leg, you can see it, but mental illness, you cannot see it. And it is that silent thing that is eating away at you. And just like you need a doctor when you're sick with your broken leg or your diabetes or your heart issues, you need a doctor for your mental health.
It's so true, man.
Yep.
That is
And
so
it starts by just admitting I need help. It's okay not to be okay some days.
That's right.
It's okay.
That's a mark of a true warrior.
I'm laughing at that because I learned that a few years ago, and I gotta be honest. When people ask me how I'm doing, if I'm doing crappy, I'm saying I'm crappy. I'm doing shitty. I'm being honest. I'm not faking it out. Oh, I'm doing great. I'm not doing that anymore. And I learned that a few years ago, and it has been great. How you doing? Terrible.
It's liberating.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know all of us have to go, but I'm gonna put Baptist's anybody else? Oh, we have Marcia said, oh, Kakal said, good evening, Cindy. And Marcia said, you just never know. Why is not showing? He said, you just never know where your healing coming from. Very interesting program. Thank you, darling. We appreciate your very beautiful comment.
No, tell her she gotta get me a Peter beer when I come down to St. Lucia.
I don't know where she is.
No, where Marcia at? Because Marcia.
Listen, you gotta text Marcia and ask Marcia where she at. Marcia, he's asking you where you at.
Where she at? If she
I don't
in the
know.
West, we can find some Peter beer to drink.
But listen, my resilient risers, I say you all are resilient because I believe that everybody can have the ability to grow from whatever situation they are. Like Mr. Warren said, to evolve and grow from it. That doesn't mean you're going to be fully healed, but you're going to get to a place in your head, in your mind where
All right.
I can cope.
She from Brooklyn. I go to Brooklyn all the time. So Marcia and I go link up in Brooklyn. Cindy, get Marcia's information. So Marcia, you better find the Peter beer so you and I can sit somewhere and drink some Peter beer.
You got the message, Marcia. So it is. I believe that everybody has a capacity to grow and to evolve from whatever situation that they're going through mentally. It takes a lot of like Warren said, it takes practice, and then from the practice comes discipline. Okay, because you cannot expect to ride a bike if you don't practice. If you don't learn how to bike goes. You understand? So we have to be able to challenge ourselves for growth, to be better. I challenged myself. So I urge each of you to look deep within yourself and find out, because a lot of people are in denial. Find out what is it that's causing me not to want to take the other step into my healing, into my recovery, and allow that question to lead you to different scenarios, different, how to say, check boxes, and then maybe probably you'll be able to find answers to certain questions you don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, you are making sense.
Hmm.
No, you are, Cindy. You're amazing. I've always said that to you. Like, your program is great. The conversation and the guests you bring on is always spot on, and it correlates with the needs of what people need at that specific time and that moment. So you have a knack and the eye for that, and it's brilliant. And the one thing that I'm gonna plug in is I need people to support you, buy your books. Mr. Warren, you're a published author as well too.
I'm working on it hopefully by the end of the year, but I'm working on the same program that I'm talking about.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so we all gotta support each other, you know. And you guys know I write books for children, and I travel the world, and I travel. So I want to come to your schools and present and stuff like that. So that's how I make my living, traveling. So we gotta support each other. We're all Caribbean people. We all are here for a purpose in this life, to uplift every one of us, each and every one of us. And today it's me. Tomorrow it might be Marcia. It might be Martha. It might be someone else we're going to uplift. And in one of my books, I do talk about, like, as I rise, I'm going to extend a hand and bring someone else up with me. And that's the message that I'm going to convey and I'm going to deliver to everyone. As you go through life, as you rise, bring someone else with you. Always bring someone else up with you. It's the journey. We can't do this alone.
That's right.
Absolutely. So if you want to get a copy of Baptist's book, you could go to baptistpaul.net and you could see all of his books. There's some amazing children books. And one of my favorites is The Carnival and The Climb. I love The Carnival and The Climb. So go support him. And if you want to get a copy of my books, even if you want to get my candles or whatnot, I do a lot with my hands. Or even you just want to be on the show, just go ahead and you know, send me an email, you know, on rise to prosperity 0617 at gmail.com, or you can go to my books, my website, cindyplusseed.com, to get my books. I have all three of my books there. And that's just the beginning. I thank you all for coming on the show. I have really got a lot from this show. I applaud you both. And before I go, I just want to say again, my sincere condolences to Jack Duplessis for the loss of his first daughter. Jack is of Caribbean descent. Actually, he's from Haiti, and he is the owner and founder of Caribbean Focus TV. That's where I got my little start to make to he gave me my little start to he let me see myself that I can do what I can do. Okay, he gave me that start. And so he's like a brother to me. So, and I've met his daughter that passed away. So I just want you to go on there, and I'm going to put the link, the GoFundMe link. So if you want to donate in helping him and his family in the burial of his daughter, he has 3 children and her life was taken away too soon. So yes, so I'm going to put the link down there on the chat for the GoFundMe, so you can go ahead and do that. There's something else I wanted to tell you, Mr. Warren, but my mind is going in circles right now.
Okay.
My mind is going in circles. Oh, your book, your poetry. Where can they find your poetry? You know, this is Poetry and Perspective with Placide.
Yeah, I haven't published any yet, so that's another book that will be coming out.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so before I forget, let me place this on, because if I get off and I don't do it, it is going to definitely it's not going to go through. So I need to put it while I'm here. So I'm going to put it on the chat. And let me see here. Okay, so that everybody can see. Okay, so I posted the GoFundMe on here for Jacques. So go ahead, it's on the chat from Cindy Plassie. So go ahead and do that. Now, before we leave, I want to say a quick poem. I know, Mr. Rowan, we've had you here. I should just invite you for lunch or dinner, whatever. I've had you here for almost hours. I want to leave with a poem. Baptiste, are you still there? I want to leave with a poem because I think this poem speaks so much.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm still here.
Okay. I want to leave with a poem that I wrote, okay? Mr. Warren, if you see at any time I'm breaking down, please tell me. Just reassure me, okay? Okay. Who gone? Okay. Where did you go? Okay. All right. So the title of the poem is Thief of Innocence. Why do you, O predator, walk free? Yet I'm stuck here in internal misery. Like a thief, you incessantly rob my innocence. Still, you walk head high in the street. For you, the problem they do not seek. Cunningly, you watch your every move, your every prey, unsuspectingly worming in your dirty way. Yes, ravaging the dignity of merciless victims. Branded a liar, not one a chance to stand. As threats from a monster muzzles the truth to a bitter end. With doors shut to any discipline, joyously you eat of the family's barely ripened fruits you've stolen. Deceitfully you lure them to gain your trust. And just like a lion, you tear through their flesh, leaving their existence in a dejected, confused mess. Why do you, O predators, continue to devastatingly devour such bright generations of the future? With your venom, many are those you destroy, while deceptively playing your supporters' hand. A life of inexistence so full of malice, representing your parents in utter disgrace. No, it's not okay to discharge others that way. For many are your contentions of unwelcome plagues, trampling confidence of young rising stars to bitter death. Every opportunity you steal for your fun, caring less for devastated souls left behind. Painfully solid, groaning in heinous shame, as they stay silent in a debased, weakened state. Why, of your horror, O predator, are they forbidden to speak? Fearfully cornered with adamant threat, you tightly shackle their shivering tongue, buying time to polish your brittle defense. Only time will tell your sinister secrets, O predator. All your repulsive violations will lay bare in explicit revelations. Why, O predator, did you ignore the sobering, agonizing cries for mercy as you savagely penetrated your ugly claws deep in the essence of the adolescents, gaping a dark hole for unhealthy, abstracting society? Your filthy ways will be exposed, O predator. Pedophile will shine like an enthroned crown on your head. The fitting reputation of perversiveness you'll wear, worthless savage. So, did you think me trash to discard me, you abhorrent folly? What right do you possess? Only befits the scum of the earth. The scars of your indiscretion still stay with us, O predator. While still walking around damaging many other victims, where is the justice for your vile deeds, you insolent? When will you be held accountable for the lives you've ravaged? Sadly, you seem to have gotten away with your torturous scream. Standing tall, a strong tower I'll be. My voice will echo with every cloud you see. My power I'll take back from you, from your inane monstrosity. With each breath you'll swallow only painful misery, as each haunting memory brutally follows you to your eternity. That poem was written from my rape and molestation. And that person has never been held accountable.
Cindy, it takes guts, man. It takes courage. It takes a lot to be as vulnerable as you are right now. You're a hero, girl.
Thank you.
You are a hero in many aspects to be as vulnerable as you are.
And the reality of the situation also just reinforces why we cannot wait for something on the outside to happen in order for us to bring our own healing and conclusion that we need. We have to choose. We have to choose to live the life that is healthy for us from the perspective where we have control. We can't wait for the system. We can't wait for the person. We can't wait for life. We can't go back in past and change. We have to choose today. How best can I live my most brilliant self in this moment with what I have in a loving, respectful way?
I choose me.
Like Jan.
I choose me.
Martha said, good question. She said, hi, Cindy, hi, Baptist.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
This was really difficult for me to read. I know it was a long poem, but I wanted to end the show with it. You know why?
Yeah.
Because there are too many victims. Too many victims. Too many people who have been, who have been damaged by those predators,
Right.
by those pedophiles who walk around and who don't get any accountability for their actions.
Wolves in sheep clothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
For years, I walked with a wall. For years. And Baptist, I can understand your pain. That's why from the time you said about this, my heart has not stopped beating. Because I understand the depth of your pain. I can relate. I know and I understand where you are. And I know there are so many other young men out there who feel it, who knows it, who are holding some things like that inside, and they don't have a way to recovery. Mr. Warren, I am asking you, please, to come back and tell us about your program because people need you.
Yes, we do.
Will do.
We
I'm putting up the finishing touches on it now. And so we will get it rolling. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
I will sign up. I'll be number one to sign up.
With that said, my resilient risers, please, if you are just tuning in, go back and watch that program. It was so impactful. So impactful. And we're going to bring Mr. Warren back. And of course, Baptist is a regular on here. We're going to bring Mr. Warren back for him to tell us even more about everything that he's doing in the community. Tonight was about men's mental health. And you two gentlemen have just opened up a way for me to be able to even talk to my son about certain things. You have no idea.
Thank you.
So thank you both. And we thank the viewers who stayed with us, Marcia, and for those who joined in, Martha. We thank you all for staying with us. And if you are watching this at a later time, please just ponder over the information that was given there. Ponder over the experience that Baptist had. Ponder over the things that have been said tonight and see if it can lead to a path of you to your recovery. And if you find that you need help, if you're feeling that you're suicidal, first call 988. Get some help. And then after you've done that, you've gotten somebody to talk to. Call Mr. Warren. His number? What's your number again, Mr. Warren?
770-882-4240. 770-882-4240.
With that said, I'm going to say, never let failure be your finality, guys. Let it be that step towards your goals, towards your success. I love you guys. Have an amazing night. And thank you so much for being here on Poetry and Perspective with Placide. Have a good night.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace. Bless.